Hey everyone, and welcome in onto this week's video. In the past, I've talked about effective study techniques and tactics to improve your grades, but I haven't talked about what to do if you literally just don't have the motivation to even open up that Word document and start writing. It can be really tricky to get into a productive headspace, and you almost get into this vicious cycle where because you're not productive, you're more stressed, and then more stress leads to even less productivity. So relax, grab a drink, don't worry about studying right now, just listen to these tips and hopefully afterwards you'll be a little more prepared to get your work done. A great way to start is a reminder to start off easy. It can be very tempting, especially if your deadline's not too far away, to throw yourself straight in the deep end and say, okay, today I'm going to be so productive, I'm going to write my entire essay. If you can do that, amazing, but you probably can't. I know I definitely couldn't, and instead what you want to do is just relax a little bit and just start off with one simple task, one simple section of your essay, or just planning your essay. Honestly, I really cannot recommend enough just writing up a plan or an outline for your essay and then calling it a day. That's probably what I do for all my work, and it makes everything a lot better. So for example, I will literally just start off by writing up introduction, paragraph 1, 2, 3, conclusion, say if I'm just doing a basic essay structure. From there, I'll write in the points I already know that I'm going to mention, for example, keywords to define in the introduction, the main discussion points for each paragraph, and perhaps a draft of what I think my thesis will be. The fact is, the main issue with procrastination is just getting started, so make getting started as easy as possible. This is why I recommend just writing up a plan, a really rough outline of what you're going to discuss. It will then make padding out each of these sections much easier and doable than just staring at this blank sheet of paper. And it gives you that peace of mind where you have a bit more of a roadmap and idea of what you will then talk about in the later days where you fill out the rest of your essay. And if you're not thinking so much about coursework but about revision, this can be the same thing. Just write up an outline of your study sessions. For example, get up a timetable and decide, okay, on Monday I'm going to focus on this module, I'm going to do it from this time to this time, and even plan out your breaks can be a great way to know that you'll get a good amount of work done but not overwhelm yourself. Leading on nicely from that, I also want to remind you to lower the bar of expectations and quality of your work. You are far more likely to get your work done and get it done faster if you lower the expectations for how good you expect your first draft to be. The reason so many of us struggle to get our work done, or even just to put our thoughts into words, is because we're taking too much of a perfectionist approach to the point where nothing that I think of is good enough to write down. It needs to be perfect, so I'm just not going to write anything and I'm going to leave it until I know what to say. It means that we end up waiting a very long time and then the stress kicks in. So lower the bar, don't stress yourself out trying to make it perfect, and just start writing. First drafts are first drafts for a reason. Please don't expect it to be perfect. You'll find it so much easier and less stress-inducing to already expect that it's gonna be bad, or perhaps just low quality if you don't like the word bad. In my most recent video, actually, I spoke about how to edit your essay, so feel free to check that out if you then have your first draft and now you want to make it much better. But don't try and do that from the get-go, because it's just going to put you off doing that work because it's such a big feat. This is definitely my favourite point. Coursework is allowed to be fun. Now I know, controversial, but coursework and revision and studying can be fun due to what you are studying, if it's a topic you're really interested in, but don't feel like if it's a topic you don't enjoy so much, or if it's a lot of work, that you have to be stressed and it has to be draining all the life out of you. This doesn't have to be the case. Focus on more external factors other than the coursework itself that you can change to make the whole session more enjoyable. This has been coined, I believe, as the term temptation bundling, wherein an experience is far more appealing to you if it is stimulating and attractive. So you're far more likely to be motivated to do your work if your work looks fun. So depending on how you focus, I can recommend a couple of different ways to make that session more enjoyable. You can put together a study playlist of all your favorite songs in a style that helps you focus. It can be lo-fi or it can be classical music, for example. You can burn candles or incense or light a diffuser. These can be really great in just setting a calm atmosphere for you. You can set up a really comfy and cozy corner of your room that you'll only snuggle into when it's time to get into work. Or you can line up all your favorite snacks to give you sustenance as you're working. Now, this is great because not only will these elements make the session more fun, but what you will find over time, if you do this every time, is that literally just engaging in those elements will push you towards that productive headspace. For example, you may find over time that lighting your study candle, that scent will make you feel more ready to do work. And this is very much true because you will have conditioned yourself to associate that scent of candle with doing work. For example, for me, I actually found somehow that I can do work whilst listening to a stream in the background. As long as it's quite a chill stream and the gameplay is not too loud, it's actually perfect for me. And then during my breaks, I can flick over and watch it properly, and then flick back to my work and just listen to it. What I found a lot of the time is that this stream will help me get into that focused mindset. I'm focused on my work, but the stream is there just to prevent my brain from straying to anything else. So I'm either going to be thinking about my work or I'll be thinking about the stream, but my brain won't keep running with other thoughts. But once I'm in that productive headspace, a lot of the time I would then turn the stream off because it was distracting me, but then I would be fully focused on the work and then just hammer out a load of work. And then I can enjoy the stream after. So you see what I mean? Where it's really helpful, wherein your study session becomes more enjoyable, it puts you in a good mood to work, and it can also then push you to be even more productive than if you felt you needed to be in silence and focused, because that's where your brain is more likely to get distracted. Next, I recommend trying out the carrot and stick approach for motivation. Now, I believe the carrot is supposed to be the reward and the stick is supposed to be the punishment. I think you're supposed to be poked by the stick. We won't be doing that here. But in theory, what you should be doing is giving yourself rewards for completing your work and punishments for not completing your work. Before we go any further, when I say punishment, I do not mean anything actively negative or malicious towards yourself, but rather I would recommend just preventing yourself from doing something that you really want to do, because that will motivate you to do your work so you can do that. For example, a reward would be watching your favourite film or that YouTube video you've really wanted to watch for ages now, and that is what you will get for drafting up your introduction. Whereas the punishment would be, okay, I actually was really unproductive and I didn't do that section of my essay, so I'm not going to allow myself to watch that film. I will only watch that film once I've finished my introduction. And this theory does actually suggest that punishment is really effective when the individual is choosing an alternative desirable behaviour, which is basically just procrastination. But that being said, this is all about what works for you. If you find that actually rewards are what really boost you to work, just give yourself rewards. Or if actually you only really respond to that punishment element, then you can just focus on those. Or be crazy and do both. With all that being said, I really want to remind you not to burn yourself out by trying to do everything in one sitting. Unless your work is literally due in tomorrow, which I really hope it isn't, you should not be trying to do everything all at once to be super productive, because we're all human, no one is ever that productive, and it's gonna burn you out, and we don't want that. So instead, it can really help you just to tell yourself to get one thing done. That even if the rest of the day is a write-off and you do nothing else productive, you got that one thing on your list done. So you can prioritize the most important thing or the thing that's been stressing you out the most to have not done. And then once you've done that, you may find that you're now in a good workspace and you can continue working. Or if you're not, then you don't have to feel guilty because at least you got that one thing done. As I mentioned in the previous video, you can check out the Pomodoro method, where you work for 25 minutes on and then have a 5-minute break 4 times, and then have a longer break. This can be a good way just to prevent yourself from spending the whole day doing this one thing, but instead, maybe you go through 2 rounds, finish the work, and then you may just think, do you know what, my brain is fried, I cannot do anything else, and that's fine. You did what you said you would do. Or if you're now really motivated to keep going, just start the timer again and continue. Finally, leading on from all of that is to try this snowballing method. If, for example, the one thing you really need to get done is a bit of a bigger task and you can't afford to just draft up your intro, that's fine, but you don't have to do it the moment you get up. Instead, start your day with an easier task to get a productive ball rolling. Now, this easy task does not even have to be academic. You may have heard the piece of advice to always make your bed in the morning, which will lead to being more productive throughout the day. And this is exactly the case. Just cleaning your room, or going grocery shopping, or writing up your timetable for next week. Just a simple task like this can get you into that positive mood and ready to then tackle a bigger task. So those are my points on trying to beat procrastination and boost your motivation. As with all my tips, please don't expect overnight results. If you do, that's amazing, but at the same time, it can be really difficult to train yourself to be more productive when perhaps in the past you've always left your work until the last minute. This is a journey, and I just want you to know that I'm proud of you no matter what. Just watching this video shows that you want to better yourself, and that is amazing. Please let me know in the comments if this helped you out, or if you have any other suggestions that you'd like me to talk about. And as always, happy studying.